Good morning. Welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday, the 10th of January. So, what's in store today? Firstly, looking at the risk events that may be occurring. Wednesday, 10th there. So we've got inflation out, or had inflation out. Let me just update this for Australia. Australian inflation that came in slightly less than expected, which is a good sign in effect of bringing inflation down. Um, we haven't got a great deal. We've got Bank of England governor speaking later. Let's just check where he's speaking. Due to testify along with Deputy Governor. Okay, financial stability report to the Treasury Select Committee. Okay, that we can get some volatility around these meetings in the afternoon. Um, we'll see what happens there. So there is that potential risk with him speaking now, or both of them speaking. We've also got then 10-year bond auction. Okay, quiet day then. Tomorrow's the big day with inflation for the US. So I would imagine, based on that, news-wise, we haven't got a great deal more. Looking at these markets, I'm starting off with the euro dollar here, and well, you can see the consolidated chop is continuing. It's really not doing too much from where it started off last week. Now, last week looked a lot easier to trade than this week, but the euro has gone very, I say, flat. There's long periods that you're seeing in these markets of relative flatness. Okay, yes, I did start shifting off later in the morning there, only to pull back up, but okay, admittedly went down to its S1. It is getting into a bit of a range, but probably a bit of an ugly range to try and get a sort of a day trade, some decent day trades out of this. So it's quite a mess at the moment. The pound dollar, there's no real difference here. It did soften a little bit yesterday. Now it's okay. It's not in quite the same range. It has had this sort of move to the upside. Let me just get rid of those. It's retraced, well, mostly yesterday and into this morning at the moment. It's not the cleanest of markets to read, and if I can't read it easily, I tend to let go of it and leave it. Now I'm seeing on this time frame a little bit easier with the lower highs coming in, the lower high at the top there. It's dropped in another lower high, bouncing at the moment. Whether it comes up to the pivot, if it comes up to the pivot, well, a reversal into that might give more potential downside. The only trouble is it takes out that near-term high and it becomes more questionable. I would rather see it start failing earlier this morning, maybe by 9 if it starts rolling back the other way, and see if we can get it to roll down to the S2, maybe a bit more. Come back towards this sort of the weekly S1. Okay, there's a lot of or lack of clarity, I should say. Sorry, just squeeze this up a little bit here. The US dollar yen, I've still got my alert sitting on here, waiting to see if it breaks down. It's gone the other way again at the moment. It's started pushing back. Again, this could still drop over, take out the lows here, give us a lower high, and it would be interesting. At the moment, well, maybe it's in that original direction that we were seeing it run in to. It's lower time frame. It's quite messy. It's already, well, it's missed the pivot. It's possibly on for its R2 there, but not great. Morning, Dean. Not great at all. Not an easy market to read. And when they become less easy to read, the best thing is to leave them. I was having a great conversation with someone yesterday from a prop trading firm, and we were discussing things and trading, and the desire and the need of traders that feel like should be in the market all of the time. It's particularly as a day trader, you feel like they should be looking at something. Yet the markets are really quite ugly at the moment. Now, you look at this Australian dollar. Actually, it's in a quite a nice channel that it's developed, but you've got to be a bit patient now because it's halfway up. Maybe if it gets back to these highs here, it'll offer opportunities to get back in a sell back down towards the lows, but it's bang in the middle, so no interest immediately for me there. Morning, John. The US dollar CAD. Now, I really was hoping this was going to roll over yesterday, not because I'm in the trade, but I want to get into a trade, and I feel like it was at the time it looked like it might have been a better way for it to run, but it didn't yesterday. It carried on to the upside there. It's again, you come down to the alleys, you can see the mess it's in. It's a bit of a ascending channel-ish. Horrible spike, obviously, from non-farms. Yeah, it's not setting me anything up at the moment. New Zealand dollar, same as the Aussie really. Here we've not got a lot of action going on daily wise. It's just chopping along. You can see most of them, and it's just just again a continuation of what we were seeing last week. Now somehow last week it seemed some of these markets seemed a lot clearer than this week for sure. It may be because last week we had things like this sort of movement here, which broke over and rolled over pretty cleanly. We saw another one roll over the next day. We're not seeing much happening. It's a flatter market at the moment, and well, best avoided at this stage. US dollar Swissy. Again, a market that's from a daily perspective, you can see it's range bound and consolidating. Now with this, I'm just sort of looking at it, and well, there is a range within the range effectively. It might be rolling over, ready for another move down towards these lows, but it's a very, I say, dirty market. It's just choppy and not particularly clean looking in terms of its price action here. So it's just risk for potentially no reward and only loss. Now the euro yen, if anything, is starting to sort of shape up on a daily point of view. Maybe leading into tomorrow might have a bit more of a move to the upside. It's a cleaner looking bit of price action that's running through here. Getting into a trade is another matter. It's already sort of moved through the Asian session here. Yesterday it was very much into a downward bit of price action. It just double bottomed in the end and turned round, triggered the sort of the buy side from the double bottom, and off it went. This was all at one stage sitting in. Everything was sort of shaping up quite well, but obviously not to be. Euro pound again. Actually, this was the better one. We'd been sitting in there, a nice downward move, and I sat there patiently waiting, and patiently, and I'm still sitting there patiently, and maybe this will roll over at some stage, but it seems to have gone the other way for now, and getting back into mucky zone. So there's a whole number of things. This morning in the trading room, I'm going to go through the rest of the markets. In the rest of the Forex markets, that is. Now I'm going to just run through a few markets, gold, oil, etc. But so I'm going to do that, but also doing a session on the order book this morning, so we'll be looking at that later. For now though, let's just carry on. The pound, gold. So gold, it's again, it's got this drift towards the downside here, but it's again an ugly market. It's not particularly clean in terms of where getting into the market in the first place, and it's horrible chop. So another one to steer clear of, and needless to say, oil's pretty much the same there. Yesterday it did get a little bit of a mover at 4 there. It's actually started its usual sort of normally I look for around about 2 o'clock for the entry, but it was again yesterday going against what I looked at. I'd seen the higher low, so left that alone. It did kick off, as I say, kick off a little bit 4 o'clock-ish time, but there's nothing really driving from that. And when you look at the higher time frames with oil, It's quite a mess down here, and as I said yesterday, I think it might just chop in that range. S&Ps, well, I couldn't do too much yesterday. We ended up in this bearish arami actually in terms of price action, but the bigger market is still quite bullish. It's just maybe a bit of consolidation. It did double top on this lower time frame. We could see a breakout of that and a continuation possible. It's looking quite cleanish here on the hourlies, but yeah, it's got some scope for later on maybe to push on through there. The DAX still remains pretty messy now. It's just got into that quite ugly price action. So there's a lot of ugly price action. We've got inflation, US inflation tomorrow. Is that going to clear the markets, get us back on the path? We'd like to think so. Over the next day or so, whether we get back into some sort of trends. But we've got to be patient. We can only take what it really gives us, and I can't emphasize enough the need to sometimes say sit on your hands or walk away from the screens if you're tempted to go chasing through. I even zipped down into some of the shorter time frames yesterday, and there's not a great deal of decent setup sitting there unless I'm really missing something. Okay, Ali, morning, bonjour. Okay, I'll wish you a great day's trading anyway, and I will catch you. Tomorrow. If you want to join the room, there's a link underneath in YouTube. Just click on that, and you can join me again for the rest of the morning. Bye for now. There we go. That's that.